Welcome back to the interview. I'm Gene Marrano. Our guest is Roanoke City Vice Mayor, City Council, Dave Trinkle. And Dave, you mentioned decision-making involved with the Virginia Tech Carilion School of Medicine. Roanoke City Council, first of all, what possessed you to get involved with the school board and then City Council years ago?
Well, it really wasn't well thought out, but I applied.
You probably say that some nights.
That's right. I planned on I applied for the school board kind of on a whim, mainly because the schools were having some difficulty. I had 3 young kids in the school system and knew it was not an elected position. I had no clue it was as big of a position as it was. I really hadn't researched it, and as controversial as things can get on the school system. Sure. But ended up on the school board. It was actually a tight race because there were many candidates and many incumbents. So I was fortunate to get on the school board. It was very life-changing experience. I learned a lot. I learned a lot about our city, about different walks of life, different parts of our city, different needs in our city, and found it to be a great experience. And during that time, the Victory Stadium issues were kind of popping up, and I felt there was an opportunity for some more consistent leadership in City Council, and got together with a group of people that felt the same way and decided to take the leap into running for City Council.
Right, and that really is what got you elected the first time is the whole Victory Stadium issue was at the forefront.
Well, it was just that it was holding the city back, and the city was getting to a point where they were indecisive. They kept revisiting issues over and over again, and they would make a decision but change it, and really, if you take a business model to it, it was really no way to run a business, and the city is a huge
You
business.
mean as far as repairing this big facility?
Well, I don't care what the decision was, really. At the end of the day, it was just make a decision and move on. And there was just, things were stuck, and there was a lot of emotions involved, and maybe it was getting some new, different people outside the political scheme to come in and just help make some decisions and move on. And I think it was a good thing. We moved on, and have moved on to other issues, and that's what has kept me involved with City Council. Is it's challenging, it's always interesting, and again, it keeps you in many ways at a level of involvement with the city and different parts of the city that I probably wouldn't have had the opportunity had I not entered politics. So I enjoy it. It's not my career, but it is something I enjoy doing.
You're a geriatric psychiatrist,
right?
By trade, and you spent time early on after school at UVA in London and Australia. And what made you gravitate towards geriatric psychiatrist? If I could digress for a second here.
Well, I went to med school to be a pediatrician, and it really, like so much in life, it's who your mentors are, and. In medical school, and I just had incredible mentors in geriatrics. We knew that with the baby boomers and the demographic shifts, it was going to be a needed area. And then I experienced some psychiatry, geriatric psychiatry, which you would think, on the surface, there's not a whole lot of help you can do there. But I found
for older folks,
right, for older folks with depression or Alzheimer's or dementia and other neurologic disorders, many of which are degenerative. But I found quickly that there is so much you can do for that population. We absolutely need more specialists in geriatrics in general. And so I went to residency, which reinforced that concept, and eventually did some fellowship training and got into the specialty. And basically was in Chicago and had my first kid, my son, and decided to come back home to Roanoke where the grandparents were and the babysitters were. So.
You're also a restaurateur,
right?
These days, fork in the city, fork in the alley. How do you like being in the restaurant business?
Well, that again was a little bit of a happenstance thing. It wasn't a deliberative decision. It was really, I got into real estate and then couldn't rent the facility. So eventually I had to hire a manager and open a restaurant, which was successful. It was the right plan and the right place at the right time. But I've learned a lot too from that experience. I'm a physician, and most physicians don't know business very well, and so I've learned a lot about the business side of small businesses and how to run them.
Your wife, Ann Bondurant Trinkle, she's an artist. She has a working studio and a gallery downtown. And Roanoke has really made a commitment, Dave, the last 10, 15 years or so to being this cultural and artistic center. What has that meant to Roanoke? You have the Taubman Museum and everything else going. What has that meant as far as an economic development engine for the city of Roanoke?
I think it's huge, and I've said that on multiple occasions. The goal of Roanoke is to, in my opinion, is to be sustainable in many ways, but also to grow and grow our population and create a vibe or an opportunity for young people to feel comfortable to be here and work here and raise their families. And that impacts the schools, it impacts museums and arts and cultural activities, it impacts entertainment, music. And you know, even despite the recession and the city's inability to help support many of these things in some ways, although we've been greatly supportive in other ways, private people, community-oriented people continue to push this to where I think Roanoke really has become the music hub of Virginia, certainly Southwest Virginia. We have a growing arts and cultural community, which is exciting. There's plenty to do here, and we strongly support them. And as Vice Mayor and City Council member, you know, we're working on an arts plan, which I hope will someday create some funding sources and opportunities to help support people that want to enter the arts, cultural, and music arenas to keep this quality of life that we have. And again, you know, back to the medical students, that's what they found is, you know, Roanoke is, you know, it's a smallish town, but we have all the urban amenities that most big cities have, and they're very doable and they're fun.
But you can get out of town in a few minutes, which is nice. For people that come from bigger cities, and you lived in Chicago for a while.
Right, and Richmond, and it's easy to get away. But we're on the cutting edge in so many ways, despite our size, and we have the natural amenities around us. So I think people find that those are the areas that really will create a vibe that I think makes Roanoke very sustainable and hopefully will grow us.
We just have a minute or so left, Dave. I just want to, you know, it seems with City Council, and I know City Manager Chris Morrow is learning this now with the proposal to spend more money on a study for Elmwood Park. But Elmwood Park, the amphitheater, Countryside Golf Course, it just seems like it's really difficult sometimes to give birth to a resolution in Roanoke. Is that just the nature of the beast on City Council?
You know, I'm in my second term, and the main reason I ran again was because I found that we've been slowed. And remember, the first reason I ran was to get things done and move on. I still feel that way. The recession has slowed us down in many ways where we've had to put projects on hold. But you know, Elmwood is not a study. It is an architectural construction drawing next step. It's the next logical step. Council's been very deliberative in how to get there. We've had to downsize it, we've had to change it. But certainly a central, improved, daily usable park in downtown Roanoke to support the enormously successful festivals we have is something that I think Roanoke deserves and should have. And hopefully we'll get there. We've had to slow it down. Countryside, we finally resolved, I think, in an adequate way. And we, you know, there are many projects on the board, on the table out there that, to me, it's been very frustrating that we can't resolve them quicker. But you know, maybe City Council and government does move a little bit slower than private business. But hopefully, we have the council on board right now that will make some decisions and either stop a project or move it forward.
Okay, we'll have to leave it there. Dave Trinkle, Vice Mayor,
thank you.
Roanoke City
Thanks
Council.
for having me.
Thank you very much for being on. This is The Interview. I'm Gene Marrano. We'll be right back.